Hello everyone, my name is Adam Sikora and this is another devlog for my project called HoneyHives. This specific video is going to go into the skeleton level that I built and all of the objects that it all encompasses. So first, if you want to see some of the layout, some of this is going to look a little bit weird. Maybe what I should do first is to actually show the game. So you'll see this, and you can move this stuff, and that back piece kind of moves in and out like this. And you can have the camera move a little bit. Okay. So come back out here. The scale is messed with a lot, and you might not realize it. So these are the small little items that are my foreground items, and that is this huge honking thing back there that I call the world grid. Basically, if I'm going to this B box, this isn't too extravagant, but basically I have the frame, which is just a model, but it gets a little complicated when you're looking at it. So basically I have the panel as one object, and then specific objects within it are each of these areas. And so they're all labeled uniquely so I can find them. And they each of them has the same thing on it. Is a spike, which is basically just this model of this little nub here, and an area collider. So basically this is a square that that will recognize that my mouse has hovered over it, and it will send a message to my kind of main programming that says, hey, I'm over this area. I call these over here areas, each of these, and it will say, hey, you're over this one. So specifically, let's say area 1 over here. This has a specific address, and it's A1. So A1, this one would be A2, 3, 4, as you see right here. So each of them has the specific address. So when you put your mouse over it, it sends that address so the program knows what you're hovering over. So that's basically it with this. I can get location from here. I can get, when I actually attach a piece to it, right here, actually I can just show you. When you add a piece to it, I'll pause it and kind of zoom out. You'll see right here that actually I've parented that object to this area. So now I can access this piece however I want. So basically, once the mouse is over it, it'll say, hey, I'm on area 2, and then it will see, hey, is there any pieces on area 2 for me to spin or pick up? So that's basically the B box here. Now, this is the big thing. So I didn't necessarily plan all this out. I mean, you never really do with you making a video game. You don't plan it all out ahead of time. So the first thing I did was like put this model in, and I was like, all right, it would be really cool if it was kind of like floating, you know, in midair. And I really liked that effect, but then it meant that everything needed to be floating because everything is attached to this thing, which ended up being like a very good way to organize all this anyway. So I probably would have ended up there anyway. But yeah, now everything is connected all to this one object. So it's not this, I call it the world grid. So first you've got, basically you've rendered the actual model of this, which is basically the whole big frame. And then now we go to each honeycomb. So on one honeycomb, this is specifically this top, I go A, B, C, D, E, F, G. On this honeycomb, it has all these items. So first it has another basically I have these as honeycombs, and each of these small ones in here are called honey slots. And this has an address of AA. So you go to, actually it has an address of AA underscore AA, because the first one, AA, is this honeycomb, and after the underscore is the top one over here. So basically now that references this. And it's got its own spike, which is the same thing as the B box. And it's got another collider, and these are the same for each of these. And its Z coordinate is out a little bit more, just so it doesn't get some conflict with the actual background model. And so each of these has this, and basically just like the B box, it has a collider. So if I put my cursor over this, it'll send a message that says, hey, I'm over this specific honey slot with this address right here. And so then when I click on it, it will then go check this. And basically in the beginning of the program, it kind of takes all these in and puts them into its own dictionary, which I can kind of show you in code. Not there, it's in the world grid. So yeah, this isn't organized so well, so don't look at it. But this big thing basically puts all of those references into the same dictionary. So it's very easy to get a reference to everything just by using one address that is kind of, that permeates basically the whole program. Just so kind of having all the references basically in one spot. You'll see here the custom addresses. I did at one point have addresses to all the flowers, but because everything is connected to everything, you don't necessarily need to have a reference here to all of the flowers. I have a reference specifically to, in the program, so for the honeycomb here, this is its own reference. Basically, this references all of the honeycomb slots here that will need to basically be turned on or off depending on whether I'm focusing on this one or that one. So if I play it, it'll loop through those and say, hey, now I'm at AA, look at that list of addresses, and all of those colors need to turn on because all the other ones are turned off. Not these over here, these are always on. So now when I go back, these turn off, and now the big ones over here turn on, so I can click on each of these. So also in a honeycomb, so you've got all the slots, you've got one collider, which is the big one for the whole honeycomb, and then you've got all of the flower indicators. And that each one, basically it goes 1, 2, no, it's not in order this way, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But each of them has a flower mesh and a vine mesh. And so basically if I input a tile here, it will know to go check all of these to see if, basically once I place a tile here, it'll check all 9 of these again. And then it'll go through the validation logic to tell it whether to turn these on to a different, to be bright or to dim out. And so basically when I kind of alluded to this already, but even when I'm in here, it acts as the same as a B box up here if I'm inputting a piece. So if I go in here, but then I'm pausing it, you'll see that all of these honey slots usually have a piece attached to it. And a piece has all of these different values. So it's this specific piece. And these are the text meshes which hold the values of each item that goes and changes depending on the level. And so if I go and then take this piece out, this piece will be unparented from this slot, and then I will basically have it in my hand, so to speak, until I place it someplace else. So yeah, basically, you know, when I was working with Unreal, I had to create kind of this structure within code and only code. So I needed to know how to get all these references, and that all kind of happened through code. And so now if I'm, you know, everything is an object or a component in Unity, so I've basically gotten my organization of my references all down to just because it's all connected to this one big piece, and so I can find things through there. But I think I have basically a few other scripts that are housed here, which is basically my general things that I put here. And this is specifically just my back button, which will have a better model at some point. Now it's just a box. Yeah, and my camera basically doesn't do much other than move left and right. So all it'll do is like move here to there. And so it's not complicated at all. But I think in the beginning of a level, what I might want to do is like have a transition effect. Maybe it fades in from black, and maybe it kind of pans or tilts down to kind of reveal it, to kind of give a presentational opening. But other than that, the camera doesn't do much at all at this point. But yeah, that is how I've constructed all this. I didn't really have this plan going in, but I basically did it like from the outside to going in, and created this structure, and it works pretty well. So thank you for listening to my video, and you can check out some of the other videos on this project. Otherwise, have a great day.